This serves as a message to all false cabal. You have served me. They won't show it, but they fear you, and they should. You've shown the Red Legion you fly my banner. I know when the time is right, I won't have to ask. You're on my side. I see it when your body becomes a weapon, with which you obliterate your opponents. When your knuckles become part of your foe's continents, when you smash them with your light, and it is captivating. But Earth casts no shadow. Not yet. When you're ready, you will be magnificent. A guardian of guardians, a shadow of shadows. I reserve the right to be the last when the end comes, and for that, I will need you with me. You are so close. Calus, Emperor of the Cabal. What's going on, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages? Joker back again, once again, and today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite characters in all of Destiny lore, Emperor Calus. Now, this isn't really going to be a lore video. This is going to be more of a literary breakdown of the type of character that Calus represents within the story of Destiny. Think something in the vein of my essay on why Aldrin is the best written character in all of Destiny. Calus fascinates me because he offers a stark motivational contrast to all the other big players in the Destiny lore. Be it Shin Malphur and the Shadows of Yore, be it the Drifter, be it the Nine, be it the Queen and the Worms and the Vanguard, be it Toland, Osiris, the Light, the Darkness, and even ourselves. Savathun wants to create a perpetual murder battery and stave off the inevitable end of a bad deal that the Hive made eons ago. The Vex want to survive the heat death of the universe and write themselves into a fundamental law of existence. The Fallen want to survive, maybe even find the Kell of Kells, and take back the Great Machine. The Queen wants to save her people and stave off the extinction level event coming. The Drifter wants to prepare for that extinction level event. He wants to hide away, he wants to survive. The Nine, they want to birth themselves into existence. The Vanguard want to protect the city. And Shin Malphur, he wants to bait out all of those who would dare tempt power greater than themselves. And the Light wants what? The preservation of all life, of itself? And the darkness wants entropy? Everybody has a motive for doing what they're doing. Calus, on the other hand, seems to want to enjoy the moment. He views the end of all things, the struggles of guardians, of light, of the darkness, of the various races, as a form of entertainment. He views himself above it all, and everything else is nothing more than overindulgent melodrama. But it's overindulgent melodrama that he enjoys, that he likes to see pushed forward because, as I said, it entertains him. Calus has seen the end of existence, not just the Armageddon for mankind, not just the collapse of this system or that system, but the beginning of all things to end and the end of all things to come. Calus has seen nothing. This changed his perspective on existence, and that's why he's so uninvested in the petty war between the light and the darkness and the schemes of the Queen and the Nine. Calus's only interest in the whole affair is to watch the melodrama play out. Calus scoffs at the earnest sincerity of it all, because he knows that they're all doomed to fail, but he enjoys watching the struggle. He revels in it. Calus's only stakes in this great game is to be able to experience the one thing that no one else will ever be able to experience. He believes that when the universe comes to an end, it is his right to be the last living thing in all of existence before existence ends, so that he can watch the melodrama play out to its final bitter end. That's why Calus reaches out to us, to train us, to ensure that he has warriors worthy of him. Aside from that, Calus doesn't seem to really care, at least not in the same way that everybody else does. And this gives a sharp contrast to how serious all the other characters' motives are. Calus has seen the end. He believes that he alone has the right to be the last living thing in all of existence. For him, this is nothing more than a foregone conclusion. That's why his raid is not a raid, not like the Vault of Glass or Crota's End or King's Fall or Wrath of the Machine or The Last Wish. All of those raids are excursions into enemy lairs to kill a story-relevant boss. Calus, by contrast, invites us to the Leviathan. In the lore book that came with the collector's edition of Destiny 2, we read, "You're like me, aren't you? You won't settle for what you've been given. You want more. Do you desire eternal greatness? Do you seek true freedom? I, alone, hold the power to grant you these gifts, if you prove yourself to me. Know that I am Calus, the last and greatest emperor of the Cabal. For centuries, I led the revelries of my empire. The stars themselves burned sweet and clear, but in time, the jealous and tight-fisted rose up and sent me into exile. And when the people called out for me, these envious rebels battered my cabal down into grey submission. Now I offer my gifts and delectations to you, young celebrant. Together we might restore laughter and great excess to the golden halls of Torobatl and all the stars beyond. But before we feast together, I must know your quality. Can you bear the weight of my favor? Are you capable of executing my vengeance? I seek equals, and they are far and few. I have seen more than 1,000 years of war and trouble. I fought the Sindhu escadrilles, put down the Calypso revolt, but might is not enough. For, through all of this struggle, I kept the bonfires lit, the sweet wines flowing. To be emperor, you see, is to be the model of perpetual joy. A good ruler must live a life that everyone craves. For if an emperor cannot be happy, then what hope has anyone? In you, I also seek the capacity for wonder and the appetite for greatness. When I took the throne, my people bled to feed a corrupt military elite. I chased those Praetoriat scum from their dens of iniquity. I offered their stolen riches back to my cabal, and I vowed to celebrate our existence in the highest luxury, to set an example for my empire. No privileged few, but decadence for all. Friend, I was betrayed. I could have forgiven the traitors, for I am an emperor of limitless cheer. I swear on my own silk and treasure that, although my betrayers were as close to me as my own daughter, still, I would have forgiven them, had they not also betrayed my people. It was not enough for this vile council to overthrow me. These mendacious and murderous villains, these dear companions who I kept so long at my side, they gave my cabal to brutal military rule. Now armored tyrants stain golden Torobatl with their dark designs. Gaul is the epitome of their creed, an innocent orphan simmered in their poison hate. He will infect the whole cabal with his emptiness. I have foreseen it. His life will be a quest to fill the hollow in his soul. They would have killed me, but I am too beloved and too glorious. So, they sent me away into resplendent exile upon this grand Leviathan. And from that exile, I call on you, the brave, to execute my justice upon the traitors, save the cabal from grey enslavement. Join me in my search for the glorious and absolute power of the universe. Bring me the end of my enemies, and prove yourself worthy of the prize Gaul will never claim, true power, true purpose. These things I offer you, and weapons, and knowledge, and glory. I have pulverized moons into beautiful rings of ruin. I have snuffed out stars to improve the harmony of their constellations. Think of the monuments I could make for you. I promise you everything. All I ask is death. These are the names of the traitors. We're then given a list of names, some of which have been killed before Destiny 2, some of which we have no clue as to their fate. Two of which, however, we do see in Destiny 2, Gaul and the Council. Once we kill Gaul, Calus then invites us to the Leviathan. And what do we find when we land on the Leviathan? An honor guard, in games. Not the traditional descent into a foe's lair to kill them. Though we, the player, think that's what's happening until we kill Calus and the truth is revealed to us. And that's because Calus is not antagonistic. Calus falls into what psychiatrist Carl Jung labeled the jester classification of character archetypes. As stated earlier, Calus's main desire is to stay fully happy in the moment, until the end of the end, to be the last living thing in all of existence, so he can enjoy that one fleeting moment, an experience that no one else will ever be able to have. In the course of the story, the only time that we see Calus act antagonistically is against Gaul and the Council and the others in the book. The other time might be with Val-Kalar, but that's because Val-Kalar challenged Calus's superiority. They dared to look down on him, to take what was his, and he sees that as an offense. This offense must be answered in blood, but instead of getting his hands dirty, he sends us against them. During the Spire Stars raid, when Calus's games are interrupted by Val-Kalar, Calus turns that as a twist on his original plans, and killing Val-Kalar isn't viewed as a big deal, merely a formality. This is because Calus in his mind is the king of kings, a god in his own right. Val-Kalar never really posed any threat. He was just a mild amusement, a random change of pace to what Calus had already planned. So, it was entertaining. Distractions like these are merely fleeting fancies to Calus. In Calus's mind, he never feared Gaul, not once he found godhood. Calus doesn't fear the worms or the hive or the darkness or the vex or even the traveler. He doesn't fear us, and why would he? The player is nothing more than an amusement to Calus, and that's why he's not antagonistic to us. Calus has the power to destroy most anything that annoys him, but acting and outright killing his enemies? For Calus, that would be boring. Calus is, after all, a hedonist, and we get some insight into what pushed Calus to this mentality in the It Stared Back lore entry, which states, "At the edge of the universe I stared into the infinite deep. It stared back and was pleased. I would become the herald of its victory, and bear witness for all creation." The Leviathan came to a halt before a wall of infinite void. It could go no further, as the navigation systems had suffered a cataclysmic failure. The course that the conspirators had set crossed space that simply didn't exist. I don't know how long we traveled. Years? Millennia? Time had ceased to have meaning as I wallowed in the despair of my exile. But this event shook me out of my stupor. At the edge of the universe, we found something. No, we found a nothing. From the seat of my observation chamber, I stared into the perfect void. Only I, a god, could understand what I witnessed. It was a thing greater than myself, and if such a thing exists, then I too can become more. This epiphany continues in the lore tab for I am alive. When the end comes, I reserve the right to be the last. Now I've seen everything. We were all so wrong. All of this. The machines, the elixni, the worms, the light, the nine, all of it. Meaningless. This galaxy is tumbling towards a singular conclusion, and there is nothing, no one that can stop it. How could I have missed this? It's the small moments, the simple pleasures that matter. They're all I can think about now. Food and drink aren't mere sustenance. They're a reminder that I am alive. This Leviathan, this prison ship, I will remake it as I have been remade. No longer will it represent a mythical beast from the dreams of worms. It'll serve as an icon for my newfound gluttony. And lastly, on the insigne shade boots we read, "The Cabal I knew would have a place at my side at the dimming of the world. The Red Legion do not." But the end is coming either way. I've not foreseen it, I have outraced it. Nothing will stop it. It renders all things, all meanings, obsolete. The universe troubles itself with numbers, wishes, the dreams of worms, the hissing silence at the black edge, the echoes of a false god. None of it matters except this. A shadow of your guardian tribe is exactly what I need to herald what's coming. I know you're kind. You bend reality when it suits you, break reality when it bothers you. At the end of all things, I will need something like you, with the wift and weave of the universe at your fingertips, to help me usher in the end. Calus, Emperor of the Cabal. Calus sees the player as raw potential, a pawn he can mold into something worthy of him. Calus doesn't want to stop the end. He doesn't care one way or another. If the player can surprise him, sure, why not? But Calus has resigned himself to the impossibility of this task. That is his one truth. And instead, he's embraced the beauty of the destruction of everything. And if everything's going to be destroyed, then he wants an interesting spectacle, a spectacle worthy of him. And we, the player, are the vehicle by which he means to achieve that. Like I read at the beginning of the video, when you're ready, you will be magnificent. A guardian of guardians, a shadow of shadows. I reserve the right to be the last when the end comes. And for that, I need you with me. Calus has a sort of self-indulgent nihilism. He's hedonistic because he can be, because he has the power to do so. Calus is unrestricted, he's free, only invested in his own wants and needs. All of his actions, as demonstrated, are dictated by what he believes the singular truth is. That all existence is coming to an end, so fuck it. Let's revel in the unmaking of eternity. In the player character, Calus sees a kindred spirit. In a meta way, it's because Calus, like us, is part of the audience. In a not-so-meta way, it's because Guardians make their own fate. But it's also because Guardians by nature are greedy, hedonistic. We seek battle for the sake of battle. We seek gear, we seek experiences that will make us stronger. We live in the moment. As I said earlier, to Calus, we are something to be molded. We're raw potential that's willing to be molded. But even in this, Calus is detached and aloof. He shows pride in our growth because that further proves his own greatness, but outside of that, he's a neutral party. Calus doesn't force us to do anything. He doesn't try to manipulate us. He doesn't, unlike the other players like the Vanguard, like the Drifter, like Shin, like the Shadows, like Anor, or like the agents reporting to the Vanguard in the lore card Passivity from the book Stolen Intelligence, which reads, 2. Related to above, number 3801's aggressive propaganda campaign appears to have been successful. Despite number 3801's recent inactivity, sentiment polls captured in the tower at regular intervals over the last several months indicate that he has successfully swayed a percentage of the Red War cohort to believe that he may be a potential ally. Given our history with the Cabal as well as the events of the Red War itself, it is shocking and perhaps attributable to a case of mass traumatic bonding. It is my strong recommendation that the Vanguard pursue a re-education curriculum before number 3801 invites any guardians of the city to defect to his service. A possibility we have documented in multiple previous reports. See, unlike these other parties, Calus doesn't try to drive the player into any one direction. What he does do, however, is offer guardians opportunities to fulfill their own desires. He offers power for power's sake, because the player wants power. By dealing with the player in this regard, by offering them power, by offering them opportunities, by offering them a change in perspective, he treats the player with far more agency than anyone else in Destiny. Calus would look at the Shadows of Yore and say, perhaps they do cling to the darkness, like guardians cling to the light. So what? Who cares? Embrace it, revel in it, enjoy it, lust for it, be honest about it, but more importantly, become what you want to become. Become your most perfect self. And if that perfect self is found in service to the light, in service to the Vanguard, or if it's found by taking up Thorn and joining the Shadows of Yore, or by carving your own path, just as long as you forge your perfect self and revel in its making, and the unmaking of those that would stand in your way. Calus isn't an actor on the stage, not in the traditional sense, not in the same way that Mara, the Vanguard, the Drifter, Shin Malphur, Savathun, and Ziva Arath are. Calus is like us, part of the audience, enjoying the absurdity of it all, and in this he leads the dance. Just look at some of the things he says. His entire purpose is to deconstruct the serious nature by which we, the player, and by virtue everybody else involved, deal with the events in the game. He mocks it because all of existence is going to end anyways. At least that's what he believes. He scoffs at the naivety of dreamers because dreams die when the dreamer wakes up. All of them, without exception. This might seem like nihilism, but what Calus is saying is ultimately, if they die, then never allow yourself to wake up. That's why Calus is the way he is. That's why he's a hedonist. He's living his dream. Calus predicts his fate, and we have no reason to believe that he's wrong short of us stopping whatever he's seen, and even then Calus still isn't wrong. In a meta sense, Destiny will eventually end. There will come a time where Bungie stops making content, and the servers are shut down forever. Of this you can be assured, O viewer mine. Calus, in a lot of ways, is the only person that the player can trust because he's the only character who's talking to the audience. He's the guy sitting next to you enjoying the absurdity of what's going on and laughing with you, not at you, for enjoying it as well. And, like us, he wants the end to be fucking amazing. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. And like always, stay frosty.